Hey everybody, this is Austin Weber with Weber Bracketology, where every day is Selection Sunday, and today actually is Selection Sunday. It is the last day of games happening before the tournament, and today the official bracket's going to be released at 5 o'clock Central Time, my time. But right now I have it's not final projection because there are maybe a couple things that could change. There's a few auto bids that need to go out, but then there's some slight changes that could happen depending on the outcome of the last few games today. But we're going to start with the one line. It's going to stay the same. Nothing's going to change with that. The two line, Texas passes UCLA on the two line, and Marquette moves up to the two line ahead of Baylor. Though Baylor has four more quad one wins, they have four more losses, and Marquette, I think that Marquette's better in basically all metrics as well, and I really just think Marquette, they won the Big East. I think they deserve the two seed over Baylor, mostly because of the win-loss record is really why I made the change there. But other than Baylor falling to the three line, that's gonna be the same. The four line though is different, as Duke winning the ACC, they've moved up. Really, the only reason Duke was as low as they had been was because they lacked quality wins over tournament teams. They don't have any bad losses, but beating Pitt, Miami, and Virginia all in a row, that really gave them the three wins they needed to move up. And it did knock Virginia down to the five line for me. I think Virginia just doesn't really have a lot of quality wins. That's why I have Indiana above them still. Indiana has the Purdue wins. I mean, Indiana is slightly worse in the metrics. They have more losses. But I think their quality of wins, and then their amount of quad one wins really is the difference with them being on the four line over Virginia. And then there's Virginia on the four line and five line with Iowa State and San Diego State. TCU I still have over Texas A&M. I don't think Texas A&M is gonna pass them even with the win against Alabama today. Though TCU has four more losses, and if Texas A&M wins today, they'll have the same amount of quad one wins. Texas A&M has one more quad four loss. Out of conference, they didn't do anything out of conference. TCU had the Iowa and Providence wins there, and then I think the committee will just realize that the Big 12 was so tough that a couple more losses for TCU isn't going to make that much of a difference, because they do have wins at Kansas and at Baylor. They've beaten Texas. They've beaten Kansas State a couple times. So TCU has a ton of great wins, and they wouldn't have as many losses if Mike Miles didn't get hurt for a stretch. I think they lost like 4 games without him. So I think TCU is going to be on the 5 line. But obviously Texas A&M could pass them beating Alabama today. The 7 line, nothing's really changed there. On the 8 line, also nothing's really changed. The 9 line, Auburn, I moved them above Boise State. I just kind of re-looked at the resumes, and that's just kind of the choice I made there. But I do think Penn State passes Illinois, because I have Auburn over Illinois. That's another little change in the seed list. But I think if Penn State beats Purdue today, I think they pass Illinois to go on the 9 line, because Illinois has great wins against UCLA and Texas. Those are 2 top 6 teams, but other than that, they have really nothing. They only have a few home wins against teams that are lower seeded in the tournament. They only have 2 quad 1 wins. And Penn State, if they do win, they have like 8 or 9 wins against tournament teams. They have more quad 2 losses, but they have 5 more quad 1 wins. It would be 8 if they win today, and then that win against Purdue would kind of even it out with the Texas UCLA wins in that one, and plus they have more road wins in the Big 10, and they've beaten Illinois 3 times. But really, the difference right now, I think, is the metrics. Illinois is just pretty significantly better in all of them. They're 15 higher than that as of right now, so it's a decently significant difference there. And then on the 10 line, no real changes there. On the 11 line, nothing really new. I thought Pittsburgh would be one of the last 4 in, but because of the way the matchups would have to work in my personal bracket, Providence moved to the last 4 in, but Providence is above Pittsburgh on the seed list. And as of auto bids, nothing really changed. Yale's in play today. VCU's got a play today. So there are chances there's going to be some movement there, but not really very much. And obviously, the last four in, there's no change. I mean, the first four out, not really any changes there. But yeah, there's only a few slight changes that could happen today. I don't even know if TCU and Texas A&M there'd be a big change. I think Penn State, Illinois, if Penn State wins, they deserve to be up there. Honestly, Penn State could be above Illinois right now. I think that's just how the resumes line up. But Illinois does only have one loss outside of Quad 1, so I kind of leave them up there on the 9 line. Plus, the Texas and UCLA wins are just they're two really good wins, and Illinois does have some other wins in there. But yeah, so this is not my final bracket. There's going to be probably a couple changes, but this is a pretty good idea of how it's going to end up today. Obviously, it's not going to be exactly right, but it's been a really interesting process, especially with teams like Texas A&M. That's been a really interesting team to look at through this, and it's been really interesting to see where they go. Kentucky kind of as well, because they do have some Quad 3, Quad 4 losses. It'll be interesting to see where they go. Florida Atlantic, I'm interested to see where they're going to be at. They only have 3 losses. They have 5 Quad 1 and 2 wins, so I think an 8 line is probably a good spot for them. But it's really good. And Marquette Baylor, I'm interested to see that, because I don't know if the weight of the Big 12 will put Baylor above Marquette in that situation. So those are just some interesting things I want to look at, and kind of where Duke, Indiana, Virginia, how those teams end up, what kind of order they go into. But if you enjoyed, make sure you subscribe here for more bracketology and college basketball content, and visit WeberBracketology.com to take a look at the seed list as well. But it's Selection Sunday. The whole year's led up to this, and I'm just going to enjoy seeing what happens.